I study people's religions, and I've studied them for an awful long time, the less I am inclined to quarrel with anybody's position or belief or way of practice.
System warning. We are not medical professionals or licensed counselors. The following saga explores the deconstruction of accepted reality. We provide the keys, but we are not responsible for which doors you choose to open. Once the mechanism is exposed, it cannot be unseen. You are the master of your own mind. You have been warned. He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster, and if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gaze into you.
Unbound and out of place.
All people, and this also includes all beings whatsoever, but we're talking mainly, of course, about human beings. All people are manifestations, disguises of the total reality behind this cosmos.
Oh shit. Aren't you just glad to hear from me? Again? Well, I'm happy to be back. Another week, another day. But this time around, it's a little bit different. Like it always is. Plus, it's also, I don't know, Friday the 13th. And I'm just going to leave that there. So, today I'm bringing to the table a brand new project. It's a 7-part or 7-episode project titled Matter and My Mind. I know you're going to ask why the 7 parts. Well, don't you worry one little bit here, because I'm going to get there. I'll get to that. Don't you worry. You know, last week we left off with the Theater of Decay. We ended that chapter. And you know what we do next? We go right from politics right into fucking religion. It's like, you don't talk about Fight Club. Or do you? So, that's obviously what we're not supposed to talk about in polite company. Oh, polite. Fuck, we're out of place. Where we care. That like, subscribe, and share that fucker. Wait, no, not that fucker. This fucker. Yeah, share this thing. Because it helps more than you know. Anywho, now that we're done with the formal shit, let's get down to business. Obviously, everybody has to ask these questions. What is this? Where does it come from? Why is it here? Why is this so profound? Does it matter? Do you believe in magic? What is magic? I'm here to bring you a little bit of information, a little bit of knowledge. Give you a little bit of knowledge. How about that? This is the work. And although I am clearly standing on the side of not necessarily against these religions or anything like that, not really trying to put them down by any means, but I guess I found my own way. But I will admit that I did try out, both sides of the coin in that sense of the matter. As in, some family members were Catholic, some were Christian, so obviously I've attended Catholic church, I've also attended Christian church. And I've met some pretty decent people on both sides. I've heard some pretty shitty stories from both sides. It's all the same. To me anyways, not to them. They're different to them. But I tried them out just like you would test driving a vehicle. Go to the dealership, you're looking to buy a new car. And this would include, I dare say, that you can't just take the new vehicle to each end of its extreme when you're out testing them. Mostly because at the same time, you don't just say, oh, well, this one's totaled. Can I get a new one? You don't just get a different vehicle. It's the exact same one you just went and destroyed. Or you just took it to a fucking racetrack or through some really shitty rocky-like conditions, and tore the fuck out of it. You can't really do that. Even though that's what you're buying the for, if that makes sense. If you're buying a Jeep to go and rock climb, you test it out on rocks, right? But you don't get ready to ruin the vehicle. So when I say I tried out the religions, I test drove them. I didn't go very heavily because you shouldn't. I had a friend of mine with politics, but because this can carry over to other subjects of this as well. He made a good point when he said that he studied pretty much both sides of the political parties, the right and the left wings. And he's like, it's funny, the further left you go, the guns start to come back. Implying that the Democrats want the guns gone, but the further Democratic you get, the more the Republican starts to show again. As in, the guns come back. Ironic how that works out, isn't it? Okay, I may have skewed just a little bit outside with that analogy and definitely went off course. Just a touch. But you don't necessarily just say you follow religious beliefs and then wham bam thank you ma'am, you got both death and life figured out, and there's a pact that was just made, so now there's a heaven and you're going for sure now, man. Congrats. I don't think it quite works like that. Matter of fact, I don't think it is quite that. I think the reason why I didn't go to each extremes is because I felt like I didn't have to. Due to the ideas in my head that I've already formed, like putting my own reasoning behind the questions nobody has the exact answers to. Why do I exist? Who or what made all of this? And what's the point? I never really get to talk about this very often. And I really love talking about this. Not religion, but I love talking about what I'm about to share with you. So, the best way I can explain my overall perspective on this ideal, or these lessons, or these little bits of knowledge, I guess, if that's what you want to call them. I need to tell you the best written piece of work that stood prominent out of all of the relatable, or I guess similar, literature that was available. Well, in this day and age, that is. It was a tiny book that was called The Kybalion. It was published in 1908, but you want to know what really caught my curiosity, what really piqued my interest? Which was, obviously, who was the author? Well, lo and behold, I don't know. Why? Because it didn't really say. The only thing that was written on it underneath the Kybalion was written by the 3 initiates. Alrighty, so obviously as soon as I turned the page, it stole my attention. You had my curiosity, now you have my attention. That's basically what it had. You see, the words that I saw were, I believe, went something like this. It went, The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these, understandingly, possesses the master key, for whose touch the doors to the temple fly open. Sounds pretty mystical, right? Pretty magical. But wait, it gets better. So it began. I read it. The end. Go read it your fucking self. That's not what my goal is here. My goal is, well, just to share some of my own truths. That's it. The select few who actually try keeping an open mind and are not set on being more right or better than the next, you're just here to listen. Maybe learn something. Maybe have a different perspective. Maybe, I don't know, something different. Why you're here. Because you're out of place. Instead, I think I'm just gonna say this, that the book was a great eye-opener for me. It made me feel unsettled, mostly because it aligned with just about everything I had worked out in my head through just your normal, average, logical reasoning / deduction method. Obviously, this took place in my own alone time, when I'm up in my own head at night pondering about situations. The book named their iteration as what is called Hermeticism. The Kybalion gave it that name. Hermeticism addresses the fact that it goes back to a time long before this. The book acknowledges and points out specifically that this teaching, or these teachings, this knowledge, this secret knowledge, was based, or it was created, I guess, or given from a man named, or a man or a being, I'm not sure. Nobody really knows, it's all to say. Unless we have a time machine, we can go back and look. It's whatever. But his name, I'm gonna just say, its name was Hermes. Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, the King of Kings, the Master of Masters, the father of occult knowledge, the father of occult wisdom, whatever, father of the occult, there you go. Well, you see, if you really look at it, Hermes was the Greek god, worshipped by the Greeks, also worshipped by the Romans as Mercury. Hermes also is known as Thoth. Thoth is the god was the god in Egypt that the pharaohs worshipped. So Hermeticism, although it was named Hermeticism at the time of the Romans and Greeks due to the correlation with the god and the name of the practice, the teachings, Hermeticism, Hermes, But the thing is I said it was a god of Egypt too. It's Thoth. That means it goes back even further. You follow that back and, well, you get to a point where Egypt is no longer Egypt. This man, or this being, was said to exist in a land called Kemet. Kemet was Egypt before Egypt was Egypt. The father of this so-called teaching was named by the later Greeks, Romans, like I said, as Hermes Trismegistus. This was a time when anyone who was caught practicing or worshiping anything outside of the rising new religions, the Christian, Islamic, or Judaic faiths, religions, you would be named a heretic. You'd be put down or strung the fuck up with the savior. With their savior. Ain't that ironic? Which was fucking nonsensical if you ask me. So the term hermetically sealed that we use in English language is rooted to this as it is saying the hidden away. Not to the... So, another reason why it was kept secret is because, well, Hermes, or Thoth, didn't want the teaching to get out or get placed in a religious view or a religious doctrine because to him it wasn't a religion, allegedly. It wasn't a man or a thing or a being saying, "Follow me, I'm the truth. You need saving. You're all sinners. From birth. Don't even try. You're fucked up. You didn't even have to do anything. You fucked up." You know, instead, this was a figure who said, "Here, I've got the puzzle figured out. I found the last piece. And if you want to see what I see, here's how you do it." So, you two control the only life you got to experience. And still in the way that is just for you. Whatever you want, all your dreams, they can come true. I can help you create the reality you live in. There was only but 7 Hermetic principles that he taught. Which explained, as well as being simultaneous to the master key to unlock those doors that I mentioned earlier. It was the key to navigating the universe to your own design. Are you skeptical? Of course you are. But wait, there's still more. So, obviously we start with 1. The first principle is the absolute most important one, but all the others are just as important. Take that as you will. But the first one is the base. It's the connector. It's the all together. Because it's called the principle of mentalism. The next principle is the principle of correspondence. Then you have the principle of vibration. And then the principle of cause and effect. And then the principle of rhythm. The principle of polarity. And last but not least, I know all of you are going to love this one, maybe. But it's the principle of gender. In this project, it's, like I said, or if I haven't said that yet, it's going to be a 7-episode deal. Or a 7-episode project. It's going to be held in 7 episodes. In which I bet you can already guess how that's going to be structured. I like to have a little bit of a plan here for moving forward because this is some... Honestly, it's some simple, really simple things, but at the same time, until you actually look at them from another perspective or another point of view, it might not carry the weight that it should. And the weight that it should is not simple. No, it's much more than that. But I'll just let you be the judge of that one. We'll see what you learn from this. So as we know, the first principle is mentalism. The biggest phrase or the most important phrase you can ever hear is the most simplest one. It explains everything without having to dissect everything. It goes, the all mental. One more time. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Let that sink. Let it marinate. What this first principle is telling us is pretty straightforward. Its implications are massive, like universe-shattering massive. Forget about the material world being the ultimate reality for a second. Mentalism posits that everything you see, touch, smell, hear, and even think, it all originates from and exists within the mind of the all. Think of the all as the infinite, unknowable, ultimate reality, the source, God, consciousness, whatever term works for you. The universe is mental, means our entire existence is a thought in that cosmic mind. See, it's not just that your mind influences your reality, it's that your reality is mind. And your individual mind is that tiny spark, a facet of the all's consciousness. So, if the universe is mental, what does that mean for you? Well, it flips the script on what's possible. You see, if the cosmos is fundamentally a mental creation, then thoughts aren't just things that happen in your head. They're actually creative fabric of reality. Your focused, directed mind isn't just wishing for things. You see, it's tapping into the same shit, the all uses to conjure up everything. Okay, so this isn't just this isn't just airy-fairy philosophy, you see. If the all is mind, it's the foundational concept that allows for things like manifestation, intuition, and frankly, all of the magic, quote unquote, people debate about. It means the only real limits you have are the only ones that you build. Because those mental constraints are the very thing shaping your personal slice of the mental universe. The question then becomes, if the whole damn thing is just a thought, what kind of thought are you putting out there? Are you focusing on the limitations and problems, or are you actively shaping your reality within the boundaries, or are you actively shaping your reality within the boundless mind of the all? See, this is a lot to chew on, but without the principle, the other 6 don't have a leg to stand on, believe it or not. This is the foundation upon which true math itself is built. The deduction process is how the all was determined to be mind. Well, that's a good one because the Kabbalion arrives at the principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental, through a process of elimination. You see that book that I told you, The Kabbalion? It arrives at the principle of mentalism, that all is mind, the universe is mental. It arrives there through a process of elimination and logical deduction that's aimed at understanding the ultimate nature of reality, or quote-unquote the all. Since the all is the absolute, unconditioned reality, it must be something that cannot be created or destroyed, and that contains all things, yet is greater than all things. God. It's what I have always thought God to be, I guess. That's how it was always explained to me. It's unknowable. It's not a he, it's not an it, not a thing, it's all of it. That's why I just refer to it as the all. It's no longer the God, it's just the all. See, this book posts 3 primary possibilities for the nature of the all. This is the ancients did the same thing. This is how they were able to write this down. This is how they figured it out. They post 3 primary possibilities for the nature of the all, and then simultaneously eliminates 2 of them, or systematically eliminates the 2 of them. The first one was being, has the all been created? No. If the all was created, it would have to be created by something. If God was created, God would have to have been created by something, which would mean that something was not, or something was the God, was the true all, creating an infinite regress. Since the all is the ultimate reality, it must be uncreated and eternal. Is the all material, which is the elimination of materialism? It goes, the material universe, matter and energy, is subject to change, creation, and destruction, which is the principle of rhythm, vibration, cause, and effect. Material things are finite, conditional, and transient. If the all were simply matter, then matter would have to be unchangeable, eternal, and the cause of all consciousness and life, which that contradicts observable reality where matter appears to be the effect of underlying laws and principles. Matter, in its current understanding, is constantly vibrating and shifting, as we have discovered. Therefore, the all cannot be mere material substance. 3. Is the all life force? The elimination of blind force. Could the all be an infinite, unthinking, blind force of energy, or blind force or energy? If so, this force must be the source of mind and consciousness, yet possess none itself. The logical difficulty here is explaining how non-conscious force could give rise to perfect self-aware consciousness, like that found in humans, however limited. A cause must contain the potential of its effect. For the universe to contain mind and intelligence, its ultimate source must, at a minimum, be intelligent itself. A blind, unthinking force could not logically give birth to the ordered, complex, and conscious universe we experience. So, after eliminating all of the possibilities of the all being either material substance or blind force, the only remaining option that satisfies the requirements of the all, which is being uncreated, containing all things, and being the source of consciousness, is the all is infinite living mind. This deduction explains why the universe is not just random. Not just random chaos, but an ordered system governed by laws manifesting intelligence or consciousness. This deduction explains why the universe is not just random chaos, but in an ordered system governed by laws and manifesting intelligence, which is consciousness. If the all is mind, then the universe, which exists within the all, must be a mental creation, a thought, or dream of the all. This provides the necessary bridge. The all is the ultimate reality, and the phenomenal universe is the relative finite mental manifestation within that reality. science is already showing us that all of these principles, all like this one in general, or this one in specific, this one specifically, because take neuroscience for an instance. Keep your eyes open, take your finger, and just start to push on the inside of your eye, or on the outside of your eye, push inward. Don't do it to where you're going to injure yourself. You did hear the disclaimer earlier in the video, so not my fucking problem. Don't be dumb. Or do be dumb, just don't be super dumb. I'd hate for you to go blind because it sucks. I didn't go blind, but I was born blind, so there's that little surprise for you, if you didn't know already. But anyways, if you take your finger and you push on the inside, or push on the outside of your eyeball and push inwards, not very hard, you just give it a little bit of pressure, your vision goes black. No light. It's almost like a freeze frame. Like you're seeing in like a moving picture in a way. That's kind of what it is. There's electricity that's pulsing through your brain. There's a heartbeat. The give and take, the boom, 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 the on, off. At one point it's on, one point it's off, one point it's on, one point it's off. But that's how you tell the difference. There's no inside without an outside. That is the secret. To understand that takes a lot. It's hard. We want to deny it. We want to prove it wrong. But the more we keep looking inwards and the more we keep looking outwards, we're not finding the end, because there was never an end to begin with. There couldn't have been. There's no end without a beginning, and there's no beginning without an end. But I think that about sums it up for tonight. Okay, wherever you are. I'd say that next time we dive into this, we're going to be moving beyond the absolute mind of the all, and we're going to see how the initial mental creation manifests across every level of reality. We'll be exploring the principle of correspondence. I know this one is a well-known phrase because everybody loves to say it. You see it on the bumper sticker all the fucking time. As above, so below. As within, so without. As below, so above. Okay, that's not all on a bumper sticker. It's usually just as above, so below. Prepare yourself to recognize the universal laws at play. Realizing that these patterns governing the cosmos are just mirrored in the quiet workings of your own consciousness. Until then, I invite you to reflect what great truth is your mind currently creating. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. That's a cut. Catch you on the flip side. Toodles.
Have you ever just watched? Watch what's happening. And watch what you are doing by way of reaction. Just watch it happen. And don't be in a hurry to think you know what it is. In other words, people look at say, oh, that's the external world. Oh, how do you know? The whole thing, from a neurological point of view, is a happening in your head. That you think there is something outside the skull is a notion in your nervous system. It may or may not be, but it's a notion in your nervous system. You think this is the material world. Well, that's somebody's philosophical idea. Or maybe you think it's spiritual. That too is somebody's philosophical idea. This real world is not spiritual. It is not material. The real world is simply